Okay guys, so here we are on our goggles project, and in the first video that I tried to make here, I was going around and just made this bit here, and I'm not quite sure if the video worked, so this is a little bit of a test video in order to kind of catch you up to speed. If the previous recording didn't happen, then I'll use my timeline to kind of do that, and you can get an idea of what I did. Okay. So I started off by just importing a sketch picture of my goggles into SolidWorks, and then I spent a bunch of time just kind of sizing it to the correct size, or at least a kind of general size. And you can see here, I just laid down some construction lines with a couple of dimensions so that I just know the kind of the height and the width of the thing, taking into account the fact that this is a 3D object, so there's foreshortening involved and so on. And then the next move that I did is I kind of went and just eyeballed out the top view curve of this thing and what it would look like from the top view, and then I just did an extruded surface that went straight up from the plane from there. And then the next thing that I did is I did a surface trim, and SolidWorks doesn't like this whole maneuver of using the timeline to kind of cycle through my bits here. And so I'm going to give it a shot anyway, and we'll hide the sketch picture to kind of reveal what I did. So, come on now. Let me just actually pull it all the way down to the front, and then you can see here. So I did that extruded surface that went straight up, and then I came at it from the front view, and I then took a curve that I had traced off of my sketch picture, and I just did a front view surface trim and just trimmed out that shape, and I got this nice 3D form. So this would actually be like the glass of the goggles, and I'm just going to use this as kind of like a working plate to work off of. Okay. Then at the very end of the video, I was talking about how, you know, what you get here is really, you get this 3D kind of surface panel. Another option would have been to go ahead and do 3D curves, in which case you can end up with something that looks like this. So this is a 3D curve that I made using convert entities. I did convert entities and just converted the edge of the surface that I created earlier. So different options. You got to find the best one that works for you. Okay. Okay, good. So now in this video, the next move that I'm going to do is I'm going to start to just lay down some profile curves for these upper surfaces, getting ready to do some 3D curves to define kind of the upper shape of this and the lower shape of this down here. So I'm going to start up a sketch on my right plane. I'm going to grab my spline tool. I'm going to look normal too, and I am going to draw out just a very rough kind of side profile of what I think this what the goggle brow would look like if I were to cut it in half. So let me just kind of flop that on there because it's not playing along too much. And you know, I can eyeball this, but I could also add a dimension between this point and this point, and just, I think it's a 3. So that dimension looks really weird to me. I'm not quite sure why my computer's acting so funny, but we know we're in the neighborhood, so let's just call it there. And then we'll do the same thing down here on the right plane with a new sketch. We'll grab our curve. This one's actually working a little bit better, so it looks like it's able to pierce. And so let's try the dimension between this point and this point. I think it's about 9.4 down here. I did take some measurements, guys, so I know a little bit about this model. And I know it's just kind of rounded like that. Okay. Okay, there's the first step. And let me hide these construction curves. Let me go to my front plane, open up a sketch, and now I'm just going to start to kind of rough in what I think these top 3D curves are going to look like. I'm going to extend way past the area of the glass and just keep it simple for now, remembering that I can always go back and edit this curve later on. So I want to put this right kind of in line with the top of that curve like that. There we go. And then I want to actually make sure I know the measurement of how far away is this exterior point from the rest of the glass. I know in my model, I think it was, let me measure it really quick, guys. Excuse me while I do this. I'm just measuring from the edge of the glass to where the body of the goggles ends, and I've got a measurement of 19.9, also known as 20 millimeters. So let's just see where we're at. We're at 30. Let's go 20, and let's just pull that over to that neighborhood. There you go. So we'll call that like that, and then we'll go again to the front plane, and we're going to go sketch and start up a sketch, and we'll just loosely kind of rough it out. And in this case, I've got to be a little bit particular about where this thing ends. I want to put a horizontal relation between the end point of this and the end point of that. That way I know that they kind of end in the same world. And then I want to edit this front piece as well with just a coincident relation. All right. My computer's totally frozen now, so I'm just going to let it sit and think for a second. There you go. It's back. All right, now's the part where I look at my goggles and then I kind of adjust the curve here to sort of match what I see. So, kind of thins out in this neighborhood. But then I'm also thinking to myself, what do I want? You know, what about me? I'm the designer here, so let's do some design. Oddly enough, entire design rests on this one curve. No pressure. All right. I think that looks okay. Let's be happy with that. And there she goes. Okay. All right. Now let's turn these things. These are 2D curves right now. It's time to turn them into 3D curves. So let's do that. Okay. Let's go to our top plane. And we're going to do 2 3D curves. Okay. So I'm going to do one profile curve for the top one. Oh, sorry. I'm going to do it down here on the top plane. One profile arc for on the top plane to create a projected curve using a combination of that curve plus this curve. Then I'm going to do another one that I'm going to project down because the kind of 3D-ness of the bottom and the top are a little bit different. So that's why I'm going to do it that way. You'll see. Okay, so curve, and I have to line this up right with the end here. Let's be good about that. This is the part where I can add a nice little reference line, a straight one. There we go. And then I can use that to kind of line myself up with the rest of my model here. Okay. It's actually not working as well as I thought. Let's zoom in and see if we can get a better kind of snap to the endpoint there. Not what I want at all, as a matter of fact. Okay. Let's look normal 2. Let's take off these weird sketch relations and let's do this from the side view. Okay, so first thing we got to do is we're going to lock this to the origin. Okay, let's just lock it vertical to the origin. And then we're going to take this guy and we're going to hopefully put, there she goes, a vertical relation between that and that. So I guess we're doing the bottom one first. Okay, cool. So that's lined up with that. That's lined up with this. We're good there. Okay. And then I want to just look normal 2 here and make sure that this line lines up perfectly with the end point of that profile. And so we're going to call that like that. I'm just going to fire this off and see how she looks and then adjust from there so we can get a better sense of what needs to happen to this curve. I think right away I know that I need to just add a little bit more of like a nose bridge here. So that would mean that I've got to just, there you go, a little subtle move like that. And there's a lot to do with the distance between this point and this point, but for now let's just see what we get. Okay, I'm going to do a projected curve, and I'm going to go, okay, 1, 2, there we go. You can kind of see what's going on there. Fantastic. All right. And there's our first 3D curve, and you can instantaneously start to see in 3D the goggles coming out. Okay, there you go. All right, now let's do that again with the top. And you know, working off that top plane, I think I actually want to just put a new plane up here, just for my own sanity. There's a top plane there, and let's just lay down a set of curves that looks like this. Again, loose. And let's just actually hide this really quick. Sorry, let me finish that. And let's hide that 3D curve just to make our lives easier, as usual. Okay, so let's put this right in line. Edit this, excuse me. Edit, and just setting up the endpoints of this curve to match the endpoint of this curve down here. And then I want to put this in line with this. And then normal 2. I don't know what just happened there, but it was annoying. My curve flipped out. There, that's that. What is this? Okay. So again, this is the time where I'm going to be using my actual goggles as reference, plus my skills as a designer to make a curve here that I think looks attractive. It's kind of larger here, and it sort of tapers back down this way. So let's see how much I can kind of do that. Okay, let's just call it there like that. And let's go ahead and do our projected curve now. Okay, project curve 1 and 2. There we go. Voila. Let's hide this guy. And let's show our other 3D curve. Now it's really starting to make sense. See where I'm going with this? Okay, cool. So next moves that I'm going to make, I'm going to put some profile curves to connect from here down to here, here to here, and then we'll just do a simple boundary surface there, and then we'll connect the two like that. That's all going to happen in another video, just sort of laying out the groundwork for you and showing you how this is going to go. All right, time to save your work. We've got enough invested in this puppy now that it's time to do that. Let's do it. Let's go save, and I'm going to save this in my eyewear project for all of you to have access to. Let's hope it goes well. Looks like I'm saving this as an R2 because I did one last night that was sort of a practice run. And if you want to take a look at how that went, you can open up that file too. It's all saved on my drive. Okay? Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.